whole lot of things happened with Mobad. And you can see that after he's dead, you can see the kind of bundle of glory that God made this child. He's a bundle of glory. He's somebody that's supposed to rule or to reign, not even rule the entertainment industry. He was somebody that's supposed to reign. So, but he was bottled. He was bottled. There were a lot of bottlenecks around him. And that is why you see that nobody could restrain the voices for justice. Who is his former boss? And by the way, who is Naira Marley, for God's sake? That justice cannot take its course. What is the meaning of Sam Larry or whatever? What kind of society is this? That we just suddenly grew from the moral days, the morality pedigree days of the 80s, the 90s, into a millennium era whereby people just worship money, worship big names, and you feel that, oh, you should not question him. So in life, there are some people that cannot be allowed around you in your ambience. If you want to succeed in life, you have to find a way to cut them off. Avoid them with every iota of strength in you. They went to live inside a cave. And you know what happened to Lot? We add S to his name. Lot became lost because he lost his humanity. His two daughters slept with him. He lost his pedigree. He lost his wealth. He lost his connection with Abraham. Now, that is what happened to people that don't listen. We pray and we earnestly seek that justice must be done to all the characters involved and their accomplices, their affiliates, and every other person. Justice must be given in plain terms so that we can build a society. We cannot build society around drug addicts, around drug personified people. When you see a person that is suspicious, a person of suspicious pedigree, suspicious character, a thug, a drug enthusiast, now visiting the president of a country or having picture with an organization that's supposed to be very sensitive to a very terrible sector like drug, a sector that is very sensitive, you keep wondering what is going on. Who are the people that have been given the position of authority? And how did they get there? Where is the check and balance? Who is moderating who? Who is moralizing who? I mean, in a system whereby a person that is in a high authority is even hiding his result, and the whole world is applauding. I mean, you ask yourself, and that is what the society have done. That is why we had the Mobad situation. Well, it's a very wonderful, lovely moment today on Asabe Africa TV. This is another interventionist broadcast. And it's going to be simply about Mobad and the issues trending around Mobad and what we can learn from his life and the events that went around his life, the events that took place before his unfortunate demise, because it is not a good thing that a young man, a prosperous young man, a prospective young man like Imole promised Aloba, could pass away that way, So I want to talk about it. And luckily today is the 77th birthday of King of World Beats, King Sunny Ade. So today is Friday, September 22nd of year 2023, and I'm doing this broadcast in the very early hour of the day. This is 11:20 this morning, and I've looked at every issue from all angles. I've tried to restrain myself in the last 7 days. I think 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. In the last 10 days. This is 10 days after Mobad's demise. And I've looked at every issue, and I want us to have a whole lot of wisdom. I want us to share intelligence, especially about glorious children, and especially about association. If you look at Asabi Africa very well, you look at most of the things we do, we talk to men of God, men of information, spiritual information, people that talk about destiny, that talk about glory, that talk about how to breed glorious people, or how to be aware to your spiritual development. Yes, a lot of things is opened in that Mobad's case. You can see that a lot of lessons are being fast learned, both from the parental angle, from the societal angle, from the professional angle, even down to the government angle. You see, a lot of things is very wrong in the system, and these are the things that corroborated the infamous profile of a good boy, a fantastic young man, growing into a fraternity of evil, or walking into a fraternity of evil. And it's quite unfortunate how he passed away. And on the 13th of September, when some of us started making noise on Facebook, we started saying, this is what we think happened, this is what we think the government should do, or this is what we think people of rational thinking should do. Some people try to come and gag us. We live in a society, we live in a season whereby a lot of people have been malnourished in terms of rational thinking. They've been distorted. Morality is at the back door. You look at people, even professors, people of high pedigree, people you hold in high esteem. Suddenly, they just lost. They lost their guts, they lost their pedigree, they lost their sense of rationality, they lost their sense of morality. Just because of money, because somebody is paying you, or you are working for a certain set of people. In my life, I will never, if I have a relationship with you, and in the long run, I discover you are not the kind of person that could profit society in the long run, or that could profit humanity in the long run, I take a bow, I take an exit. And most of you will have understood, will have known, will have seen it from some of my my disposition, my instinctual or my instinctive dispositions, especially on this channel. So what happened with Mobad? To start with, a whole lot of things happened with Mobad. And you can see that after he's dead, you can see the kind of bundle of glory that God made this child.
Jeez. Yeah. It's that Mobad, man. Welcome to London, man. Welcome to Stargirl TV, you get me? How you doing, man?
Is a bundle of glory, is somebody that's supposed to rule or to reign, not even rule the entertainment industry. It was somebody that's supposed to reign. So, but he was bottled. He was bottled. There were a lot of bottlenecks around him, and that is why you see that nobody could restrain the voices for justice. all of you that are writing, you said so somebody did this, somebody did that. You look at the instances, you look at the incidents. You look at incidents of association, you look at the incidents of fraternity and all that. You ask yourself, who is this? What is the pedigree of this other person? The two people they are alleging in this case, what is their pedigree? What do they stand for? Who are they? Then why should we live in a society whereby somebody is too big to be disciplined or is too big to be asked questions? Why should journalists, people of rational thinking, people who went to good school, people who had education, who read books, who read moods, who reads the society, who reads the season, then you suddenly become a riffraff to one idiot because he's rich or because he has money, because I mean, if there is a genuine reason for you to ask questions, why shouldn't we ask questions? Why should we be afraid? When Mobad happened last week, that is September 12th, the next day I knew something was wrong when we saw videos. I mean, we saw videos of the young man being chased by some hooligans in a certain environment in Lagos, and the guy was shouting, the guy was crying, the guy was saying, please, me ò fẹ́ kú, àwọn people in you, these people, they've done a lot to me, they've done this, they've done that, and he was mentioning Marlian and one Naira Marley, who is his former boss. And by the way, who is Naira Marley, for God's sake, that justice cannot take its course? What is the meaning of Sam Larry or whatever? What kind of society is this that we just suddenly grew from the moral days, the morality pedigree days of the 80s, the 90s, into a millennium era whereby people just worship money, worship big names, and you feel that, you should not question him. Recently, I had a cause to ditch or to sack a man of God that I felt didn't do well with when it comes to standards or didn't do something. And a lot of people will say, it's not you. You're supposed to leave him. You're supposed to Bojumbe, all that. Okay, we like Bojumbe. If somebody's life happens to be an accident to humanity, or somebody's life is now an accident to the growth of others, or you now see somebody that you are promoting now appears to become an accident to people's living or to ordinary people or extraordinary people around him. I mean, should we bury truth and let the world crumble? Should we make life so insecure for a lot of people? Should we allow evil to triumph? These are the questions. And when Mobad happened, we started to ask questions. What were those things he was saying? This was a guy that was trying to rise. This was a guy that was saying a whole lot of things, even to the extent that he petitioned. And that is about institutional corruption now. In a country whereby somebody that you look at and you feel that he didn't earn his wealth very well, and you see that person taking picture with high-level pedigreed people. I mean, for instance, we've seen Naira Marley being allegedly awarded as an ambassador of NDLEA. And if you notice, I use allegedly awarded as an ambassador. Even if he's not an ambassador, you've seen him in places whereby you ask, what kind of a thing is this? In the days before now, there are certain people you look at and you just say, don't allow this person, let's correct this person before he can have a profitable association with this kind of person. When you see a person that is suspicious, a person of suspicious pedigree, suspicious character, a thug, a drug enthusiast, now visiting the president of a country, or having picture with an organization that's supposed to be very sensitive to a very terrible sector like drug, a sector that is very sensitive, you keep wondering what is going on. Who are the people that have been given the position of authority. And how did they get there? Where is the check and balance? Who is moderating who? Who is moralizing who? I mean, in a system whereby a person that is in a high authority is even hiding his results and the whole world is applauding. I mean, you ask yourself, and that is what the society has done. That is why we had the Mobad situation. And that's why I wrote something on my Facebook the other day talking about the Mobad situation of life. You look at his name, Mobad. Mobad. Then we could say bad moments or moments of bad decision or moments of bad fraternity or moment of bad destiny accidents. In life, there could be a lot of accidents that people will just find themselves, and that is why I am going to use King Sunny Ade as a case study on this broadcast. This broadcast is primarily for the purpose of spiritual education and psychological education, because I discovered that a lot of people don't know who to associate with and who to distance themselves from. There's a kind of glory you carry in life. There's a kind of pedigree you aim in life. There's a kind of living standard that you get to in life. Even when I was in school, there are certain set of people. It's not that I hate them, but I just try to distance myself. If I'm talking to someone, I'm having a conversation with someone, and you come, and I don't trust your pedigree, I don't trust your sense of living, or you are a kind of yaya person, there's a way I will walk away and just leave you to have your conversation with the person that I'm talking with. Then if you finish, I can always come back, because people just live life. These days, a lot of things have gone mad, and that's what Mobad lifestyle has brought to us. But let's first start from the parent. You see, what happened to Mobad's father and mother is a very big situation. In fact, it's a big blunder. I'm not here to blame any one of them, but I'm here to talk about the accidents of life. Some of us face that same accident, and I will call it Ogun. In Yoruba, they call it Ija Ogo. Ijamba Ogo. That's the accident of glory. At times in life, when you have a child, a special child, and in most cases, it's the mothers that we should blame most, because in most cases, mothers are always the ones that get information about who their child is or who the child they have is going to become. In most cases, of course, it's mothers, but in some special instances, the father and mother will be there. When you have a special child, there is information about them. And I want to let you know today that every child that comes to this world, there is a manual, there is a spiritual manual guiding their life. In the olden days, our parents would take their children or their new babies to the traditional centers, whereby they talk to traditional chiefs or traditional priests. Then there's what we call Akosejaye. Akosejaye is like a spiritual foretelling, a spiritual insight into the life of the child, either a boy or a girl. They will tell you, ọmọ yìí, Ari irin, Ògùn, iṣẹ́ Ògùn ló máa ṣe. Iṣẹ́ Ògùn. That means iṣẹ́ Ògùn has to do with iron, because Ògùn is the god of iron. So such a child might grow up to either become a policeman who is going to handle gun, a soldier who is going to handle gun, or a blacksmith who is going to handle anything that has to do with iron. He can even grow up to become a miner who is going to handle anything that has to do with iron, or an engineer or something like that. For instance, in the case of one of my role models, Bashorundele Momodu, the publisher of Ovation, he told us some time ago, and he also wrote about it, that sometimes ago when he was young, when they gave birth to him at the Aladura church, the prophet foretold that this boy, this child, you should be buying biro for him, and you should let him have so much biro that he's going to do a job of biro, and that he should not stop him from reading anything readable. There was a prophecy like that ejeki biro ma pọ̀ lọ́rọ̀ ẹ̀, biro àti ìwé. And you know the funniest part of it, Chief Dele Momodu studied Yoruba in Ile-Ife, University of Ife. That was his first degree. He probably studied Yoruba because that was the cheapest course at that time. But the miracle of it is that he went for masters to study literature in English, because when he started writing, he was writing with so much brilliancy. And you know why? Because when he was young, he was open up to reading a lot of novels. The message they gave at the Aladura church eventually came to pass. And they also told them then that they should hide him from his father's family. So Chief Momodu practically grew up in Ile-Ife instead of in Auchi in Edo State, where his father hailed from. And even his father was also living in Ife. He also allegedly died in mysterious circumstances in the hand of his siblings. So, like I want to say, there's always a spiritual information about each child. Oladimeji ILERIOLUWA Aloba was one of those kind of special child that came to this world. And the reality just hit the parent now. For a father that was so tortured by poverty, that he was being pushed by people that maltreated his children, allegedly maltreated his child. He was being pushed around by them to the extent that he even buried his own son haphazardly. He was pushed. Wọ́n tì ní tìkùtì, kòtìkòtì. Ó sin ọmọ, ó gbé ògo, ọmọ ògo ológo, ó gbé sínú ilẹ̀ lójijì. At that time, maybe the boy would have still woken up. Maybe if there was a prayer action, maybe there was a kind of medical action, maybe there was a kind of more effort on the part of the parents and people around him, maybe Mobad would have even come back to life. Because what happened to Mobad is spiritual. I spoke about Dele Momodu. I am going to go into this book. This is the book of King Sunny Ade, the life of King Sunny Ade. The book is called KSK, My Life, My Music. There's a lot of secret in this book. I have had this book in my library in the last 10 years. And I don't normally talk about it, but there are a lot of deep secrets. I will read some for you, how Sunny Ade was made. Today is King Sunny Ade's birthday. Today, he clocked 77. And that's why I want to use him as a case study to talk to you about Mobad. What happened to Mobad? Because as I'm talking this morning now, CNN has done a story on Mobad.
The death of a popular artist has caused uproar. Protests are taking place in several cities across the country.
Yeah, so this story revolves around the death of 27-year-old artist Mobad. He died last week in hospital, but the circumstances of his death are very unclear at the moment. Previously, Mobad had posted videos that he'd been under attack from members of a record label that he had quit to go solo. This is from The Punch, which is one of Nigeria's most read newspapers. They report that a group staged a protest at the Lagos State House of Assembly yesterday under the moniker Justice for Mobad. They are demanding answers. They say they will keep on protesting until they find out what happens. This is from Vanguard. They also are talking about the protest, saying that they're picking up steam, saying lots of celebrities have actually come towards the protest. One of Nollywood's leading actresses, Ayabo Ojo, she was leading that protest in Lagos. And I'll finish this Africa news. They report that a probe has been launched. The Lagos state government are inviting Nigeria's secret police.
How can Mobad die and the whole country is shaking? In fact, the whole world is talking about Mobad, a 27-year-old guy who grew from poverty, from a very, very humble home, whereby we think poverty is everything, but not knowing that a glory is in that house. But because of the accident of association, That's where we're going. Now, before I go into King Sunny Ade's story, you see, ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ òtítọ́ fúnra wa. Gbogbo àwa tá wà nú ẹ̀mí, and I have to go into native language now. Gbogbo àwa tá wà nú ẹ̀mí, a ti mọ̀ tí a mọ̀ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí, a ti mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run dáríjì mi o. Màá sọ nítorí nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ yìí. A ti mọ̀ bí tí wọ́n bá tàyàn lọ́fà, tí wọ́n bá tàyàn ní ọ̀fà, abẹ́rẹ́ ò ń ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ kí wọ́n gbà. Before Mobad passed away, kí Mobad yẹn tó kú, a gbọ́ wípé èèyàn kan ó gbé jáde lọ sí show ní Ikorodu. Ǹjẹ́ a mọ̀ bóyá àwọn ara wọn náà lọ ṣe? Wọ́n ní èèyàn kan bóyá Cubana Chief Pries or something like that took him out for a show in Ikorodu. And if you look at the video at that show, you saw that some people were hitting him. They put him in a vantage position and they were using hand on him. I'm not saying anybody killed them, but ó jọ wípé wọ́n fi nǹkan kan gbà. Ó jọ wípé wọ́n gbà ní nǹkan. Ó jọ wípé wọ́n nà ní bóyá Ọlọ́run dáríjì mi, bóyá wọ́n forúkà gbà. But àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ kí ká fojú ẹ̀mí wò nìyẹn. Kí ló dé tó ṣe máa wà ní irú ibẹ̀ yẹn tó máa gbé síwájú? Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa gbà tó máa gbà. Then ìgbà tó tún wá ṣe tán, wọ́n lọ́ tún nà. Àwọn wo ló nà? Kí ló fà tó ṣe gbé? Why will you bring a star and a person you see as a star, you brought him to a show, and after the show, some people were allowed to beat him? What security plan were made to guide him as a star? What were the security plan? Who arranged that show? And why was that show arranged so quickly? Then, nígbà tó dàbí pé nǹkan tó fi ná yẹn ń ṣiṣẹ́ lára ẹ̀, bóyá láti Saturday, Sunday yẹn, okay, Sunday ló lọ sí show yẹn, ó wá ṣiṣẹ́ wọ Tuesday àbí? Then ẹ wá rush lọ hospital. Ó lára òun ṣe òun bákan, ara òun ṣe òun bákan. But tó ẹ bó ní àwọn ìyá tó jinlẹ̀ nínú nǹkan ẹ̀mí, dàbí ó ní bàbá, wọ́n ní bàbá is a prophet, but ó yà mí lẹ́nu pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wòlíì nǹkan burúkú ni ó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí bàbá yìí o. Wọ́n ní ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Tí èèyàn kan bá wà nú ẹ̀mí nígbà tó ń pè gbára òun ṣe òun bákan, kì í ṣe abẹ́rẹ́ ló yẹ kán fún náà, ẹ̀rọ ló máa fún tó yẹ pé ọ̀fà ni, because tó wọn bá treat the spiritual aspect wọn ò lè get medical result. Tí wọn bá treat the spiritual aspect wọ́n tàyàn lọ́fà ẹni kò lọ gba abẹ́rẹ́. Lọ́dún tó kọjá ọ̀rẹ́ wa kan tó popular nínú mídíà tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sóun náà nìyẹn, ikùn ni. Ọlọ́run kò fi ọrùn kẹ́, kọ́lọ́run kò fọrùn kẹ́, kọ́lọ́run kò fọrùn kẹ́, kọ́lọ́run kò fọrùn kẹ́. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi tí ó yẹ pé ìgbà tó kú ó shake me because he's a very jovial young man, he's a media person. Ikùn náà ló ṣẹlẹ̀, wọ́n ló lọ sí hospital náà ni, that's Michael Alonge, he died December 10. Ó lọ sí hospital yìí náà ni ó gba abẹ́rẹ́, according to nǹkan tó sọ, ó gba abẹ́rẹ́ ló délé náà ló sùn tí kò jí. Mo mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run ti ṣe ìdájọ́, Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ṣe máa ṣe ìdájọ́. Àwọn nǹkan yìí nǹkan ìjìnlẹ̀ ni, àwọn nǹkan ìjìnlẹ̀ yìí àwọn èèyàn díẹ̀ la fi yé. Nígbà tí ọmọ lọ sírú show bẹ́ẹ̀, ọmọ tó ti ń nà káàkiri, dẹni ijọ́ kejì wọ́n lé èèyàn kan nínú wọn, Ọlọ́run dáríjì wá, ó wá bọ́ sórí fídíò, ó wá sọ pé on God no calm, òkú kì í yọ síyàn, inú fíìmù lòkú ti yọ séyàn, inú fíìmù lòkú ti yọ, tó bá ṣe fún ẹ ṣe báyìí ó ti yẹ ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe lọ.
Tó bá ń bẹ online lórí social media, tó bá lọ reply ẹ fẹ́ fún frame ni o, má reply ẹ, tó bá reply ẹ bí pé ọgọ́ ló ti gọ́ bọ̀dẹ̀, tó bá bí ìyá ẹ rè, tó bá mọ̀ pé orúkọ ìyá ẹ níyà ẹ ń jẹ́ níjọ́ tó bí ìyá ẹ, kó wá dúró síwájú ẹ pé Mr. Alágbájá ọmọ Lágbájá ìwọ mò ń bá wí kí ló fẹ́ ṣe, wàá dẹ̀ ṣe kí ni ó mọ̀, on God no cap. Ó ṣàmọ̀ pé inú fíìmù lòkú máa ti yọjú séyàn, real life ó ṣáà ti mọ̀. ẹja àwọn agbádùn lọ but máa reply ẹ tó bá tú ẹ lórí social media tó bá lọ reply ẹ ò fún frame ni máa reply ẹ tó bá ti bire kókò dárúkọ ẹ pé ìwọ ọmọ lágbájá ìwọ mò ń bá wí o kó wá dúró síwájú ẹ pé ìwọ mò ń bá wí o nà ó ṣàmọ ọmọ kan tó máa ń ṣe fún ọmọ náà ọlọ ẹ̀yin òkú lọ́wọ́ tó bá ń jẹ sàárà.
àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ wọ̀nyí ibo ló ti wá dẹ̀ wọ́n nígbà tó ṣe síbẹ̀ tó yá torí pé kíní ó tún yọ but thank God for Goldmine TV Goldmine wọ́n ti kálẹ̀ wọ́n ti rebroadcast ẹ̀ èèyàn yẹn láàrin ìgbà yẹn náà ó dẹ̀ ìgbà tó rí pé nǹkan ti yíwọ́ ó já kúrò Nàìjíríà then ẹni tó jẹ́ ọ̀gá ìtẹ́lẹ̀ Naira Marley náà ìyẹn náà disappear kí ló fà á now ẹni tí wọ́n bá ta nírú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ Ọlọ́run dáríjì mí o bóyá wọ́n ta lọ́fà ni o tàbí ṣe nǹkan burúkú fún ni o mi ò sọ pé bí wọ́n ta lọ́fà ọ̀bẹ tó ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀fà ló ń ta abẹ́rẹ́ òun ràn ọ̀fà o kàkà bẹ́ẹ̀ ó máa spike ẹ̀ ni anything could have happened because wọ́n ní nurse fún lábẹ́rẹ́ who knows what happened but kì í ṣe nǹkan tẹ́ máa gbà nìyẹn ẹ̀rọ ló yẹ kó wá ẹ̀rọ tó ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀fà ni ẹ̀rọ tí ìyá ẹ̀ bá wà very strategic and that is ibi tí a ti dáhùn òbí lẹ́bi nìyẹn ìyá tó fi ọmọ ńlẹ̀ sọ́dọ̀ bàbá tó lọ fún 20 ọdún dàbí fún 30 ọdún dàbí fún ọdún 10 tí bàbá náà dẹ̀ ń tiraka tó gun ìdílé ò jẹ́ kí bàbá kó rọ́wọ́ mú lọ sẹ́nu débi wípé ó máa lè tọ́jú ọmọ ológo then ó wá yá ọmọ ológo wá bọ́ sí ìgboro láti lè rí ògo ẹ̀ lò ó bọ́ sí ìgboro níbi tí ọmọ ológo ti bọ́ sí ìgboro ló ti pàdé àwọn ẹni àbùkù àwọn èèyàn tó fojú jọ èèyàn tí wọn kì í ṣe èèyàn wọ́n pọ̀ káàkiri wọ́n pọ̀ dàárọ̀ yìí àwọn aṣenilóore baniláyọ̀jẹ́ àwọn afẹ́ajẹ máfíáyó àwọn agbénimọ́ra dáná sunni ìkejì yẹn tán ló sá lọ yìí nsìn nínú post kan ó post ẹ̀ síbẹ̀ bí àwọn làwọn discover Mobad àwọn sọ ọ́ déèyàn pé ó wá fẹ́ sá lọ ó fẹ́ lọ make owó tiẹ̀ báwọn yìí ni burúkú yẹn ṣe máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ nìyẹn àwọn ò kí ń rí life from the point of view pé ó yẹ kí ìwọ náà kó dé level kan kí ìwọ náà túra ẹ lẹ̀ kó lọ jẹ́yàn but why am I saying all this in Yoruba? I'm saying it because what I said is that Mobad was alleged that he was taken to a party in Ikorodu and during that party he received some beatings. In Yoruba land, those kind of things are very sensitive. If he has received beatings, somebody has hit him with a charm, definitely injection is a negativity. Injection is not the solution. You take him to hospital the 3rd day and he got to the hospital, he said he's feeling uneasy on his body, and the next thing, because you want to calm him down, you give him injection. Injection is not the solution. You are just going to kill him. And I said that it happened to a friend too last year. Some of us knew because I had a conversation with him on phone on a particular investigation he was doing before he died. And I advised him, please be careful. You have done this here. Why are you fraternizing with that place again? Be careful. But I didn't know that he's not going to listen to me. Then something happened to him. Boom. Just the day he was going to die, that our friend, Michael Alonge, it was just almost the same thing. The day he was going to die, he was still posting. He posts in the night, he posts in the morning, he posts in the afternoon. He only rushed to the hospital. Maybe he fell on they say his stomach, he was having stomach ache and all that, and he took injection, allegedly. And he came back home, allegedly, and he slept, and he didn't wake up again. It's one of the most painful loss I ever recorded, because we talk on phone. We've known ourselves since when we were in Fame magazine. When I was in the editorial department, he was in the advert department, and he was just a journalist by accident. Maybe he didn't have the instincts, but he was a good one. He did the job well. So you ask yourself, why did the parents were so lackadaisical that they didn't give guidance to their son, their star son? I mean, why was it so that your son died, you had a son, and you didn't even take note of who your son is. Now, in the case of King Sunny Ade, don't forget he was also a victim. King Sunny Ade was a victim of several Mobad situations in his career. There was a time he had crisis with his record label, Abioro. But I want to call the attention of parents to the spiritual aspect of King Sunny Ade and how his mother and his father listened to the voice of wisdom. This book, there are a lot of secrets in this book, but I only read some parts so that you understand that when you have a special child, you must work hard. Into my junior pata, could you win no ake? And whatever young boing boing, ati lekumori, ati mori boing boing. Now, let me start from this is page. This is page 3. The boy from Ondo. That's King Sunny Ade. The boy from Ondo. This is the boy from Ondo. But let me start from here. I want you to pick something from the life of King Sunny Ade. How he was guided to prominence and how he was guided to greatness in life. And if you look at him, his life has always recycled around controversy, greatness, controversy, greatness, controversy, greatness, and today is an institution. I mean, most of these young musicians should always seek to go and look for either King Sunny Ade or Chief Commander, Professor, Evangelist Ebenezer Obi, Fabi EMFR, or any of these great musicians, and ask them about the experience, how to run life. You might not be able to get everything from your parents, but I want a lot of parents to learn from what happened to King Sunny Ade. On page 5, he said, it all started in Ondo, Western Nigeria, on 22nd of September 1946. Today is 22nd of September 2023. That's 77 years after the day I was born. My father's name was Samuel Adeniyi Adegeyi, while my mother's name is Mariam Ne Adesida. Both of them descended from royal families in Ondo and Akure, respectively. At birth, I was christened Sunday Ishola Adeniyi Adegeyi. My parents were traders. They were also very active members of the Methodist Church. My father was not a minister, but he played the church organ each time the organist was absent. As a trader, my father sold cocoa, clothes, and other items. I thought of him as a merchant because he seemed interested in just all types of legitimate merchandise. He was always there when it was time to sell cocoa, just as he was when it was time for cotton and other items he felt could bring him money. Basically, his father was a trader, general merchandise. Dele Momodu's father too was into general merchandise in Ife in those days. He was selling biscuits and some other products. I'm trying to tell you about how to raise a glorious child and how to be sensitive to their innuendos and to their mannerism and ambitions. My mother was almost the same, except that her wares were principally raw foods items like beans and gari. At the time, she only sold in bags. I grew up knowing my mother as the only woman my father married. However, I was told that my father had married an Ondo woman before he met my mother. I never met the woman, but my mother confirmed that her husband had a wife before her. I also heard that the woman bore my father a son and a daughter, neither of whom I have ever met. Why my father's first marriage broke up is not known to me. Every family has their own peculiar challenges, but I've made many attempts to trace my brother and sister. However, these attempts have been futile because I've not been able to conduct adequate research. Also, the problem is compounded by my mother's inability to recognize them. She is now 110 years old. We also do not know if they still bear Adeniyi or Adegeyi as a family name. Incidentally, the last time I heard about them was from my mother. She once told me that she met my father's sister, who told her my mother and sister were living somewhere in Benue State. But that was a long time ago. You see, he was trying to trace his half-brother, half-sister. But till today, he has not been able to reach out to them because their mother took them away from the father. So you can see from the Sunny Ade family perspective. Ìyá ló lọ́mọ. Ìyá yẹn kó àwọn ọmọ tiẹ̀ lọ. So bí ó ti lọ fẹ́ lómi ní Benue. But bàbá yẹn ó tún ara ẹ̀ ṣe. Ó fẹ́ ìyàwó mi. Now look at it. My mother had me when she was 50 years old. I was the last of 11 children, of which only the last 3 survived. I hate to recall it because it reminds me of the serial tragedies my mother went through. I often wonder how she found the strength to survive the death of 8 children and the joy she must have felt when the first one lived. A supreme example of an emotional true peak. I was born after she had decided to stop having children because she had already had children of both sexes. My elder brother is Ikorodu Adegeyi, while my sister, who died in the year 2004, was named Ibidun Adeniyi Adegeyi. She was married to Alhaji Amodu from Ipele in Owo, Odo State. My birth and eventual fame was said to have been predicted by a prophet. This is where we are going now. Gbogbo ìyá tó bá bímọ, gbogbo bàbá tó bí ọmọ, wọ́n máa ń sọ fún wọn nípa ọmọ wọn. Tọ́mọ yẹn bá ti délé ayé, wọ́n sọ fún yín nípa ọmọ yín pé irú ọmọ báyìí ló ń bọ̀ o. Dàbí irú ọmọ báyìí lẹ́bí, kò sí bàbá kò sí ìyá tọ́n ní sọ fún nípa olú ọmọ tó ń bọ̀. Wọ́n sọ fún irú ọmọ báyìí lẹ́bí, wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ àwọn májẹ̀mú tó so mọ́ ọmọ yẹn kí ọmọ yẹn má ba paṣán láyé dàbí kí àwọn òbí ẹ̀ má ba pòfo lórí ẹ̀. Ó ní má jẹ́ ń pòfo ọmọ o, má jẹ́ ń pòfo ọmọ. Àmì ńlá o, má jẹ́ ń pòfo ọmọ. Sunny ló kọrin yẹn. Má jẹ́ ń pòfo ọmọ o, má jẹ́ ń pòfo ọmọ láyé mo wà. Àmì ńlá o, má jẹ́ ń pòfo ọmọ. Now, my birth and eventual fame was said to have been predicted by a prophet. According to my mother, who had decided to stop having children, a prophet told her that she will have a son who will be so famous that his hometown will be called by his name and vice versa. My parents clearly believed the prophecy, and I still think that it was my father, and I still think that is why my father ensured that Ondo traditional marks were etched on my cheek. Baba Sunny Ade, bàbá tó bí Sunny Ade, ó ní kàn fi mark sí ẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ́ pé kábà lè dá mọ̀ bí ọmọ yìí bí àwọn tó sọ ń pa ẹ̀ òótọ́ ló máa jẹ́. Torí the father still had the ambition that he's going to have many children. Maybe he was trying to just give a mark to know, to ascertain that what the prophet said about King Sunny Ade will manifest. Among my father's children, I am the only one with tribal marks. You can imagine. My assumption is that my father decided that I should have facial marks so that they would know if I was the child the prediction had referred to. But the prophecy came with a caution. This is where Mobad's parents might have problem. Before I go there, some years ago, when Dagrin passed away, I was living in Meron then. And to God be the glory, Dagrin's father used to be my friend. We lived in the same neighborhood. When Dagrin died, the day Dagrin died, he came home to see his parents. He brought a big generator and he told his mom that I want you to leave to go and look for a shop. I want to buy a shop for you so that you can start selling. I want you to leave poverty because he's also from a polygamous home and he wanted to make his mom happy. Then he bought a brand new generator for his family and the father took him around the neighborhood. It was a nice experience for your son to come and he brought his car. He just got the car then from the song Omo Naija Nimi, Naija Lọ Bí Mi Sí, Naija Mo Ti Bẹ̀rẹ̀ ABC, Omo Naija, Omo Lórí BBC, Omo Naija Lè Fún Yín Ṣí Pepsi, all those kind of things. He did a good song. And if you look at Dagrin too, Dagrin had a premonition that he was going. You look at the song he sang. Wọ́n fẹ́ mọ bí mo ṣe ń powó, wọ́n fẹ́ mọ bí mo ṣe ń gbowó, wọ́n fẹ́ gbàràwọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ mi. Wọ́n fẹ́ mọ bí mo ṣe ń powó, wọ́n fẹ́ mọ bí mo ṣe ń jayé, wọ́n fẹ́ gbàràwọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ mi. Wọ́n fẹ́ gbàràwọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ mi, lọ́wọ́ mi. Wọ́n fẹ́ gbàràwọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ mi. wọ́n fẹ́ mọ bí mo ṣe ń jayé, wọ́n fẹ́ mọ bí mo ṣe ń powó, wọ́n fẹ́ gbà ìràwọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ mi, and eventually wọ́n gba ìràwọ̀ yẹn lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Now that was the day that Green left, and he went to a party, told his driver to leave him, to go, that he would drive himself. Then when he was leaving the party, unfortunately he was drunk, and according to what we heard, he was speeding with the car. He was going home thinking that the night is clear, there was no encumbrance on the road, only for him to run into a trailer parked wrongly somewhere. He was trying to navigate a corner and he just ran into it, and that was the end. And later my sister, Kenny said Brown, when she spoke to Dagrin's mom, there was something Dagrin mom told her, that they told her about Dagrin when he was young, that they told them to do, but they didn't do it. Maybe she just forgot, or maybe she thought that he was still young, that ìràwọ̀ yẹn ní tètè dé, ìràwọ̀ yẹn máa pẹ́ kó tó dé. So she became lackadaisical, she became slow, until the guy left home. Dagrin also went into the street just like Mobad, because children of that peculiar nature, they are just eccentric. You cannot put them down. Àwọn ọmọ fíjú ni wọ́n. That is eccentricism. You cannot stop. You can't understand their innuendos. Wọ́n lè fi ilé ẹlẹ́ ní age of 10. Some of us left home as young as 17 years old to go and struggle on the streets. Some of us worked in the breweries and production firms just to survive before we went into what we are presently doing. So Dagrin left home and he became a star. Sunny Ade too ran away from home. Then his mother was even hearing his music. She didn't know he was the one. He was lying to his mom that he studied at Unilag in Lagos, not knowing that he has become a big musician in Lagos. So ẹni tó bá ti bírò àwọn ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀, o gbọ́dọ̀ ti gbọ́ ohùn. Gbogbo tó ń sọ fún ẹ ó yẹ kó o ṣe é, but tó bá lò ó ṣe é, bóyá ìgbàgbọ́ ẹ ponú, dàbí o gba ìgbàgbọ́ kan tí kò yé ẹ. It's unfortunate, ìwọ ló máa lament. Ntọ́ni kò ṣe ọmọ yìí tó bí onírun dàda ni, má gérun ẹ̀ lóye ọdún báyìí ó wá lọ gérun ẹ̀ torí pé Christ Apostolic Church ní nǹkan kan ràn lórí ẹ̀ o, nǹkan kan ṣe ẹ̀ o, ó má jìyà ẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ alẹ́ torí tó bá tó tàjẹ́ kó ṣe nǹkan fún ẹ tí ò rí nǹkan yẹn ṣe, Ọlọ́run á fi àyè ìyà yẹn lẹ̀ ọ̀ntì tó bá kú kí breakthrough yẹn tó wá, tí breakthrough yẹn bá dẹ̀ tún wá gan sef, Ọlọ́run lè má jẹ́ kó lè rí jẹ́ ń bẹ̀ tó ló ti ṣàìgbọràn. Now let's go back to King Sunny Ade. Wait, he said, but the prophecy came with a caution. It will not be fulfilled if my parents raise me in Ondo. Plus, tí ọmọ yìí tó bá dàgbà sí Ondo, kò ní lógo, kò ní rí ògo ẹ̀ lò, kò ní jẹ́yàn, ó tẹ̀ máa kú. Dàbí kó dàgbà, kó má rógo yẹn lò. In short, my parents were want to take me away from Ondo, where the prophet foretold danger lurked. Yet there was more. The prophet added that mysterious things will happen to me every 5 years until I turn 45 years. If I survive these mysterious occurrences, said the prophet, my parents should stop worrying about my safety. Pé ọmọ yìí o, lọ́dún márùn-ún àwọn nǹkan àbàmì, nǹkan àjèjì máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí. Ṣùgbọ́n tó bá ti pé 40 ọdún ó lé 5 tí kò kú tó yé, ẹ fi ètò kúlẹ̀ for long. That was the spiritual package that came with King Sunny Ade, and I'm sure it will have come with Mobad and even with Dagrin, because Kenny Brown, my very good sister, told me what Dagrin's mother told her, but I will not be able to divulge it here now. What Dagrin's mother told her in confidence that they should have done for Dagrin, so that that glory will have been profitable for them. Wọ́n lè ọmọ yẹn lè pẹ́ nínú ògo yẹn, àwọn náà lè jẹ́ ń bẹ̀. You see what's happening now? The prophecy seemed accurate because I have experienced one mysterious thing on another every 5 years. The scariest of these, incidentally, was in 1991 at the age of 45 when I was healed and rumored to have died. Sunny Ade said the prophecy were accurate. Until wòlíì sọ nípa ẹ̀, ó jẹ́ òtítọ́. Nítorí pé gbogbo ọdún márùn-ún nìkan burúkú máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí. Until tó pé 45 tó fẹ́ kú. Ìyẹn ló fi kọrin wípé ariwo Sunny Ade rọ lápá, ọ̀rọ̀ játijàti ni. Ariwo Sunny Ade rọ lẹ́sẹ̀, àwa ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ́ mọ́. ariwo Sunny Ade rọ lápàsẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ játijàti ní ariwo Sunny Ade rọ lẹ́sẹ̀ àwa ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ́ mọ́ no be me dem say he die na vex dem dey vex èmi kan lọ sọ pé ó kú irọ́ lọ fi ẹ pa lọ́lá Elédùmarè ọba irọ́ lọ fi ẹ pa èmi kan lọ sọ pé ó kú irọ́ lọ fi ẹ pa ẹni gbẹ̀bùn ríka ó ọmọ ẹ̀ á jẹ́ ń bẹ òṣìkà rántí ọ̀la ó dájú ẹ̀san áké ìjọ o bá ti dákun àti bẹni jẹ́ la ó bá ọjẹ́ kan lẹ̀ o òṣìkà rántí ọ̀la. I think that song was released either 94 or 93 or 94 or 95. That was when he came fully back to his health. And the side 2 of the song is Màá ló gba ara mi kalẹ̀, màá ṣe fàájì ara mi ló gbà. Màá ló gba ara mi kalẹ̀, màá ṣe fàájì ara mi ló gbà. Torí mi ò mọ̀gbà tí kú lè dé. Màá ṣe fàájì ara mi láyé ń wí. Today Sunny Ade, this very day, he's 77 years now. Ó ṣì ń lo fàájì ẹ̀, ó ṣì ń ṣe fàájì ẹ̀. Nítorí pé èyí lè ní jẹ́ ẹni tá bẹ lọ́wẹ́. Okay, now the prophecy seems accurate because I have experienced one mysterious thing or another every 5 years. The scariest of these incidentally was in 1991 at the age of 45 when I was ill and rumored to have died. Earlier, however, there had been hints that the prophecy was genuine. Sunny Ade is confirming it that the prophecy on Sunny Ade was genuine. Of course, I did not realize this until I was much older. The seer, according to my parents, had warned them to move me out of Odo immediately I was 5. Now, ìyá Sunny Ade gbọ́ràn, ó ṣe ètò yẹ kó ṣe. Ìyá yẹn ó pẹ́ láyé kó tó kú. She used 113 years or so, or 115. Nítorí pé ó tọ́jú olú ọmọ. Kò jẹ́ kó olú ọmọ kó dàgbà ní gbèrígbèrí ọ̀tá. Kò jẹ́ kó olú ọmọ kó dàgbà ní ibi tí ewu ti máa wú. Nítorí ọmọ tó máa daṣọ bòyàn lọ́jọ́ alẹ́, gbogbo tó máa sọ fún yàn nípa ẹ̀, èèyàn máa ń ṣe ni. Irú ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀, èèyàn máa ń gbárùkù tì nípa ti ara àti nípa ti ẹ̀mí. Ibi tí àwọn bàbá àti ìyá Mobad tán ti sáfẹ́rẹ́ nìyẹn. Nítorí pé irú ọmọ wo ni Mobad, ó kú tán sìn, gbogbo yìí nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Wọ́n celebrate ẹ̀ ní CNN, wọ́n celebrate ẹ̀ ní New York, wọ́n celebrate ẹ̀ l'Amẹ́ríkà. Bóògùn ẹ̀ ń ṣe yẹ kó tóbi tó yẹn tí ó bá yẹ pé ó ń rìn pàdé àwọn àjàmbákú ènìyàn bíi Naira Marley àtàwọn èèyàn ráwọn àwọn bíi Sam Larry. Kí ló ń jẹ́ Sam Larry? Kí ló ń jẹ́ Naira Marley torí Ọlọ́run? Ọmọ tó gùn ẹ̀ tóbi, ògùn ẹ̀ tóbi àkókò gàgàrà kò fẹ́ kó kọ́. Wọ́n pọ̀ gbogbo àná láti kọjá lára àwọn Sam Larry àti Naira Marley láyé wa. Nígbà kan ní 1998, gbogbo èèyàn tó ń wò mí, àwọn kan wà ní London l'Amẹ́ríkà tẹ́ ń wò mí, ẹ mọ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ láàrin èmi àti èèyàn kan country. Dèní even last year ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ó sì ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí àwọn èèyàn. Tó bá fẹ́ lo ògo ẹ, àwọn kan wà tó máa fẹ́ mú ẹ mọ́lẹ̀ nítorí pé ògo yẹn wọ́n rò pé ó ń wúlò fáwọn. Wọn ò dẹ̀ fẹ́ kó tẹ̀síwájú. Wọ́n bílì pé tó o bá sí ilé ẹ̀gbẹ́ àwọn torí ògo ẹ̀ yẹn, you see, Mobad call himself ìmọ́lẹ̀. Ìmọ́lẹ̀ yẹn ó tanná sínú ayé àwọn náà. Ìyẹn ló ṣe Naira Marley tó ṣe Sam Larry tó ń fi ewu lé káàkiri. Ẹni tó yẹ kán filẹ̀ kó bá tiẹ̀ lọ, tó yẹ kán lè pè níjọ́ kan bí èmi ọ̀gá ẹ̀ mo ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ de o, ṣé ò ní wá ni, ṣé ò ní fún mi nǹkan ni, kó wá sọ bí ọ̀gá ẹ̀ má wọrí, ẹ jẹ́ kí n send 10 million sí, ẹ jẹ́ kí n fún yín màálù 10, ẹ jẹ́ kí n fún yín màálù 15, tàbí ẹ jẹ́ kí n ra mọ́tò kan fún yín. But wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní hàndẹ̀ káàkiri. But ẹ gbọ́ báwọn òbí Sunny Ade ṣe gbọ́ ọ̀ràn báyìí. Okay, they took no chances. That is Sunny Ade ló ń sọ yẹn. Sunny said his parents took no chances. They took no chances. My parents decided to move to Osogbo. My recollections of the journey to Osogbo are not particularly rich. At age 5, I knew very little, but I can vividly recall that the journey was harrowing in those days. In those days, there were not many commercial vehicles traveling between Ondo and Osogbo. In fact, it was just one vehicle per day. For anyone desirous of traveling, it was important to know in advance and be there when the vehicle was taking off. Once it left, the traveler had missed out for that day. We succeeded in getting ourselves to the station. However, our problem began when the driver refused to have us on board because my parents had 3 children. The driver believed that he stood no chance of getting fares or money for the 3 children who will also occupy space that will accommodate a paying passenger. Àwọn ìpèníjà wọ́n fẹ́ kúrò nílùú, wọ́n fẹ́ sá kúrò nílùú. Ọlọ́run ti sọ yìí kán kúrò ní Sodom àti Gomara títí wọn kán tẹ̀síwájú. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí Ọlọ́run ṣe sọ fún Abraham náà kó kúrò nílùú tí bàbá ẹ̀ kó tẹ̀síwájú lọ ṣoríire. Wọ́n fẹ́ kúrò ṣùgbọ́n ẹ wo àwọn mọ́tò láwọn ò lè gbé wọn. Pé ẹ̀yin ẹ̀ ní sanwó àwọn ọmọ yìí náà kí ni gbogbo rọ́bìṣẹ́ ẹ̀dẹ̀ lówó. So mọ́tò yẹn wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní gbé wọn kélekèle. Wọ́n ń ra àwọn mọ́tò tó má débi kan mọ́tò yẹn á já wọn lẹ̀ á gbèrò mọ́tò míì wọ́n tún rìnrìn mọ́tò míì àtúndé á gbé wọn á tún já wọn lẹ̀ níbì kan wọ́n sanwó kélekèle tán fi dé Canaan land ní Òṣogbo Egypt ní Ondo yẹn ní ìgbà yẹn ibẹ̀ nígbà tí Jésù náà kéré ìgbà tí Herod ń wá láti pa wọ́n ní ẹgbọ́n ọmọ yẹn kúrò ẹ̀mí sọ yìí pé kán gbé kúrò wọ́n wá gbé Jésù pamọ́ sí Áfíríkà ní Egypt wọ́n ní Herod sọ pé ta ni ọba tán bí tó fẹ́ ju òun lọ àwọn Sam Larry ayé ìgbà yẹn nìyẹn àwọn Naira Marley ayé ìgbà yẹn nìyẹn o àwọn òfìlì gàǹgà àwọn gàgàrà àkùkọ tó máa ń fi èèyàn lògbòlògbò kí wọ́n má bàa rógo ẹ̀ lò pé wọ́n ní wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní pa àwọn ọmọdé ní Juda Jerusalem wọ́n pa wọ́n ní Nazareth wọ́n pa wọ́n tó má ti dé tó má ti ṣí ìdí ẹ̀ tán rí pé ó kó ló wà ń bẹ̀ wọ́n á kàn mú ọmọ yẹn ẹsẹ̀ méjì wọ́n á forí ẹ̀ fọ́ ògiri wọ́n ṣe ń pa wọ́n nìyẹn gbà yẹn wọ́n pa 2000 torí kí Jésù bá lè wà láàyè then Herod ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá kú mẹ́sẹ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá jáde níjì pé ẹ lè gbọ́ ọmọ yẹn padà kí Jésù bá lè rí iṣẹ́ ẹ̀ ṣe láyé nìyẹn o but ìwọ ìyá wọn sọ fún yín pé ọmọ yìí dàda tó wà lórí ẹ̀ ní certain year ní yíyà bẹ́ẹ̀ má gé o nítorí nǹkan báyìí ló máa ṣiṣẹ́ fún òdẹ̀bínú ó gé sọnù wọ́n ní ọmọ yìí má gbé lọ bí báyìí nígbà báyìí ó gbé lọ bẹ̀ ìgbà ó ní ògo ò ní yẹpẹrẹ ìgbà ó ní wàhálà ò ní dé níjọ́ wájú ìgbà ológun adúnumọ́ ni kò ní pa ọmọ ẹ̀. I'm just trying to go spiritual and because if you don't have it spiritually you are finished. If you don't have the information you are deformed. Information is for information. Without information you are deformed. No information there is deformation. Now we eventually boarded the vehicle but not straight to Osogbo. Why? I do not remember clearly. What I remember is that we disembarked at one town. From that place, we started making the journey on foot. And because I was young, I lacked the stamina to trek for long. My mother, brother, and sister took turns in carrying me on their back and shoulders. After a while, we would hop on another vehicle, but we returned to trekking over long distances. We eventually got to Osogbo. I do not remember how long it took us, but the journey left all of us with one adverse effect on our body. Bí journey yẹn ṣe burú tó ṣàwọn bí nǹkan rere ò kí ń fẹ́ kán ṣe òun ogun yẹn ò fẹ́ kán gbé Sunny Ade kúrò ní Ondo ogun yẹn fẹ́ kí Sunny kú sóńdó so ogun yẹn le ogun àìrí mọ́tò ogun mọ́tò kéékèèké ogun máa fẹsẹ̀ rìn ẹ máa gbọ́ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ìyá Sunny Ade o nítorí gbogbo ohun ẹ máa gbọ́ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ o ẹ̀yin náà ti gbọ́ yí pé Jacob ó bá áńgẹ́lì jà ìgbà tó bá áńgẹ́lì jà ẹsẹ̀ kan yẹ̀ ó fẹ́ gba ògo ni o ẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ̀ nǹkan tí Naban tó ṣe fún Jacob tó lò fún 20 years ó máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn arógo ẹni lògo ẹni mọ́ ti wọ́n àwọn èèyàn rádaràda rédèrèdè àwọn èèyàn jákujàku wọ́n á sàn ọ̀bẹ láwùláwù pọ̀ jù. Now ẹ máa gbọ́. My mother developed serious pains in her leg because of the long trek. Up to today, one of her legs is tinier than the other. One of her legs is thinner than the other. I have taken her to several hospitals in the hope that the leg will be restored. Sadly though, this has been without success. Ìgbà tó ọmọ dàgbà tó lówó tán torí ẹsẹ̀ tí ìyá ẹ̀ fi rìn tó ń gbé Sunny láti Ondo lọ sí Òṣogbo ẹsẹ̀ kan wá tínrín ẹsẹ̀ kan deform. So Sunny wá ń gbé ìyá ẹ̀ kiri nígbà tó lówó tán bí ẹ bá mi ṣe ẹsẹ̀ màmá mi kó wà òkè ó lẹ́sẹ̀ yẹn ò wà òkè tí màmá fi kú ẹsẹ̀ kan tínrín jù kan lọ torí ìrìn tó ń rìn tó ń gbé Sunny pọ̀n ilé àtúngbé ilẹ̀ ilé àtúngbé pọ̀n wọ́n á rìn tí mọ́tò bá dé wọ́n tún máa dá mọ́tò dúró ẹjọ́ ẹgbẹ́ wa dé ìbá òkè láti Kiri dé Ìbàdàn wọ́n tún fẹsẹ̀ rìn díẹ̀ àbí kó tó dé Ìbàdàn jáde dé Òṣogbo àbí láti ibì kan síbì kan láti ìlú kan sí ìlú kan wọ́n ṣàárín díẹ̀ tó fi dé ilẹ̀ ìlérí Òṣogbo. You can imagine. My memory of my childhood in Ondo is very faint since I was forced to leave the town at the age of 5. The only thing I took away from there was the Ondo dialect. In Osogbo, we settled in Agbole Babakekere along Station Road, Osogbo. My parents seemed to have no problem adjusting to their new environment. Àwọn òbí yẹn tí wọ́n ti gbọ́ ohùn Ọlọ́run, wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní gbélé ayé wọn lọ. Ondo kan lọ bí wọ́n sí, but wọ́n ti lọ́lé àjòjì torí oríire ọmọ kan tán bí tó fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan ńlá níjọ́ wájú. My parents seemed to have no problem adjusting to their new environment. For me, it was different. The variant of Yoruba language spoken in Osogbo was alien to me. Even the simplest conversation left me without a clue. I was not aware that there was another variant of the Yoruba language except the one spoken in Ondo. If there was a linguistic shock, that was it. Each time our neighbors gave me food, they would say, "Ma jẹun," eat. I would respond by ignoring them. I ignored them not because I did not like what had been offered, but because I was clueless about what they wanted me to do. You didn't. Ìsọ̀ní ò gbọ́ kò gbọ́ àwọn Yorùbá Òṣogbo rí tòǹdó ló ń gbọ́. So I only realized that I should eat when my mom said, "Oya kaje kaje, oya kaje kaje." That's Ondo. This is the Ondo equivalent of ma jẹun, eat. The mother will say, "Oya kaje kaje." Before long, my linguistic difficulty earned me an unwanted gift in the shape of a nickname, Kaje. So I'm remember saying Sunny Ade ni Kaje, because that's what the mother will tell you before you can eat. I found the name not just unappealing, but offensive. Each time anyone called me that, I flew into a rage. But the anger I got with those who called me Kaje, the happier they got, and the more they were willing to ensure that it stuck. It did because I was not wise enough to realize that my anger was inspiring them to persist with the name. However, I was rescued from the taunting by my mother, who advised me to deny them the satisfaction of seeing me angry each time they called me Kaje. It worked. I controlled my anger each time I was called by that name, and by the time I was 10 years old, almost everybody had forgotten that they ever called me Kaje. In Osogbo, I also ran into a man who appeared to confirm the prophecy that preceded my birth. One day, I was walking along a bush path near a refuse dump when a man stopped me and said, "Boy, come." I ignored him out of fear that he was a kidnapper. There were many of them in those days, and there were tales that they used children for money-making rituals. I stopped at a distance from him. Then the man spoke. "Do you know you are a great man?" I said, "God will let it be, sir. Thank you, sir." When I got home, I told my mother, who reasoned that the man must be a prophet. She also claimed a similar thing had been said about me during my christening by a man who went into trance and warned my parents to take very good care of me. Ìjọ tó ń ṣe kó mọ Sunny Ade, èèyàn kan tún lọ sínú ẹ̀mí. Ó ní ọmọ tẹ́ bí yìí, ẹ tọ́jú ẹ̀ dáadáa o. Àbí òye yín sìn, wòlíì nìyẹn o. Giving them messages upon messages. A lot of parents hear it, but ogun ìdílé wọn wá gbọ́ message but ogun tó wà lára wọn, ogun alọ́nilọ́wọ́gbà, ogun asọ́nidèrò ẹ̀yìn kò ní jẹ́ kán lè ṣe. Wọ́n ní wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ kíní fún mi o, wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ fún mi o, wòlíì yẹn dẹ̀ sọ o, bá ti ṣe lóòótọ́, bọ̀ nítorí pé ó dẹ̀jà. I actually did not know what to make of those prophecies because I simply did not have the faculty to understand their import. Anyway, they seem to have come true because anywhere they see my facial mark, people will say, "That is Sunny Ade Omo Ondo, an indigen of Ondo." And when you get to Ondo, they will say, "This is Sunny Ade's town." So I assume that this is in fulfillment of the predictions about me. If I was just being told of the prophecy now, I probably would not believe it. Beyond the linguistic irritation I had on my arrival, I found Osogbo a nice place. Also, things seemed to be looking skyward for my parents. My mother and her younger sister jointly owned a restaurant. Restaurant may not be the appropriate word for it because it was an open space in front and back of where we lived. However, it was a thriving business. Tí èèyàn bá ti gbóhùn tó kúrò ní ibi tán bí sí tó lọ síbi tọ́lọ́run fẹ́ nǹkan máa dùn fún nǹkan máa dá fún gbogbo ẹ̀ máa tóbi. Sunny Ade said the mother's food business was a thriving business. You can imagine a woman that came from Ondo town with no family, no relation, no relative in Osogbo, and she started a business and it was thriving. Daily they catered for over 500 people. Most of them construction workers hired by a contractor we called Kaka in Araromi. He was a big-time contractor who had all kinds of artisans, bricklayers, carpenters, welders, and what have you. It was like cooking for an army. We usually had about 24 pots on the right side and about 16 big pots on the left side. The soup pots were kept on the right, while those containing eba, pounded yam, rice, beans, and amala were stationed on the left. At any given time, we had at least a dozen women pounding yam. That is Mama Sunny Ade's food restaurants, which is Tobito ní Osogbo. Somewhere in our house, my mother kept bags of food items waiting to be consumed by Kaka's men. Curiously, my appetite was the exact opposite of the abundance around me. I simply ate little. I have not been able to adequately explain why my appetite is poor. Sometimes I blame it on nature because it runs in my family. Today, my appetite is better than it was as a child, when I sometimes forgot to eat, and when I ate, I forgot to drink water. That is just an aspect of the boy from Ondo, Sunny Ade. Am I likely touch the Abioro aspect, one of the remarkable part of King Sunny Ade's life as a young boy, one of the most remarkable aspects of his life when he was trying to be a star. You know, when he was trying to be a star, the most, these are his band boys in those days, when he started KSA and his first band, Sunny Ade and his Green Spot in 1966. You know, how from band member to band leader, you know, this is Sunny Ade at age 21. Ọmọ tí wọ́n sọ ipò máa ní láárí, tó dẹ̀ ní láárí, Sunny Ade at different style, KSA in the formative years, you know. Arrested by music. This is when he was leaving school, when he couldn't face his education again, when the parents were crying that kí ló ń ṣọmọ yìí, ṣé kìí ṣe pọ́n sàsí, kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀. In fact, there are a lot of things that happened. You know, how he ran away from home early in 1963, how he got an offer from Iduwewe band to go on a playing tour of Abeokuta, how he ran to Abeokuta, from Abeokuta to Lagos. The book is loaded with a lot of secrets. I will touch some. I will just touch maybe the Abioro aspect. My tutelage under Baba Salah, how Baba Salah discovered him, the veteran Moses Olaya. That's why you see that King Sunny Ade treated Baba Salah like his father. All the years that Baba Salah, even when Baba Salah passed away, he took huge responsibility in the funeral, in the burial. Baba Salah took care of him like his son. Baba Salah discovered him. You know, there are a lot of secrets in this book. There are a lot of secrets in this book. There are a lot of secrets in this book. There are a lot of secrets in this book. And you'll be shocked what Sunny Ade went through. His crisis with Chief Abioro. You know, this is the Abioro tale, crisis. He titled that page, Crisis. Just like Mobad had crisis with Naira Marley Record. Now, before I speak about Abioro's situation, you look at King Sunny Ade, you look at him, you look at Mobad's situation, you look at Dagrin, then every other great child. Yes, what happened between Mobad and Naira Marley Record happened between King Sunny Ade and TLC Record. And it was one of the biggest legal battles in Nigeria of that era. In fact, Lechi Ganfayemi was involved. He was one of the lawyers, because he came from Ondo, that intervened to help Sunny Ade from the stronghold of Chief Abioro of TLC Record. It's called African Song at the time, African Song Record. And you know what? Till today, some of Sunny Ade's songs are still hanging with Chief Abioro. Like 4 or 5 years ago, court even awarded him 500 million for some of those songs that record label stole. They didn't give Sunny Ade royalties for. The courts gave 500 million judgment, but they appealed that judgment now. I don't know what's going on now. But I'm praying that Sunny Ade will live long to be able to win that case and get his royalties either by default or by fault or whatever means. But look at Mobad case. You look at what happened to King Sunny Ade there in that book. You see that there was information before reformation. The parents were warned. And you look at every great child in history, there was always a spiritual revelation. In the case of Abraham, he grew in the house where there was a whole lot of traditional practice and a lot of sorcery, witchcraft, and all the rest. And God said he's going to bless him differently, that he should live, he should move forward to a place, a country, an alien country where he's going to bless him, because he didn't want that blessing to be Kofeka and Obi. He didn't want them to benefit from it because of what they've done. I don't know what they've done, but because of he want to bless him differently. But Abraham did a mistake. He took Lot along with him, believing that, oh, maybe his cousin. He loved Lot. Lot was the main guy he used to send around, Loshele. And God was looking at him because God didn't tell him to take Lot along. So in life, there are some people that cannot be allowed around you in your ambience. If you want to succeed in life, you have to find a way to cut them off. Avoid them with every iota of strength in you. Now, he took Lot and they were doing business together. And what brought the misunderstanding? Cow or no cow? My shepherd, my sheep are bigger, or my cow are more than you? Ija. Okay, when Lot started raising issues with Abraham was like, kò yẹ kémi àti ẹja now. Èmi mo mú ẹ wá. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Okay, kí ló fẹ́? O fòye báyìí, ó yá gbà. Kí ló tún fẹ́ nsìn? O fẹ́ freedom àbí? Abuja nìyẹn o. Kogi nìyẹn o. Ibo ló fẹ́ lọ ńbẹ̀? Ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀wẹ̀ Abuja yẹn ni wọ́n yẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ ibẹ̀ fáyìn ni ibẹ̀ lèmi fẹ́ o. Ṣé ibẹ̀ ló fẹ́ lọ? Bye bye. Then Abraham left for Kogi town. Maybe, but Lord didn't know that ara Abraham ni ògo wa, ara ni glory wa. Just like bí ògo ṣe wà lára Mobad.
I did not know. I was coming to hear all this one.
You know, I was having a conversation with him, like, he said he doesn't know. I said, so, you know.
You know, Sula made me know you for the first time.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
I was listening to your conversations. I never followed like 2 years or 3 years back.
Bro, I'm honored. I am actually honored. Thank you very much. So do you want to send it now or?
Okay, let me just drop it to you.
Oh, you know, see it. You know,
You send it now, don't you send it now.
Naira Marley and Osogbo. Okay, now Lot left. Then eventually, when crisis came in Sodom and Gomorrah, it was Abraham that negotiated spiritually, psychologically, where he was living here, begged the angels to spare the righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, and he bidded from maybe 50 to 10 to 1. And when they got there, they were able to see, because of what Abraham has taught Lot. Lot gave them hospitality, and because the men of Sodom and Gomorrah were depraved, they wanted to sleep with them. And those angels, when Lot was begging them that, oh, you can even use my virgin daughter, enjoy, they said, no, I'm baba, you can see men want to sleep with men. So the angel decided to blind all of them and told Lot and his wife and his family to leave. That they are going to destroy this city. Leave. Don't take anything. Don't take even pure water. Just leave everything. And Lot's wife was like, Daddy, ilẹ̀ tara sí ẹgbẹ́dá ńkọ́? Ilẹ̀ tara sí Ìkòyí? Daddy, ilẹ̀ wa lójoojú ńkọ́? It was ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ. And they were running. Then as he was telling his daughters, Emma weighing you, because the angel said, don't look back. Then the wife said, Daddy, gold watch me. Daddy, gold watch me. Then she looked back. And the man said, She yayin lo sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. She gbure mo. He said, Agbure, Emma weighing you. They left. They went to live inside a cave. And you know what happened to Lot? We add S to his name. Lot became lost. Because he lost his humanity. His two daughters slept with him. He lost his pedigree. He lost his wealth. he lost his connection with Abraham. Now, that is what happened to people that don't listen. So, in the case of Mobad, what of if there was a warning? What of if there was spiritual guidance? Come and check Naira Record, Naira Marley Record, Marlian Record, come sign it on. Now, let's go to association. If you look at Mobad's case too, you see a lot of infiltration into his life. When you associate with people like that, of that character, they will infiltrate your finances, they will infiltrate your private life. There are some people in this country that we heard about how they even got closer to celebrities or to people of means, and they slept with their wife, they destroy their businesses, they destroy their sanity. People that you don't allow to come close. Your family is your family, it's a private thing. Your business is your business. It's a secular thing. But look at Mobad's life. We are hearing a lot of stories that they infiltrated even his friends. They allegedly infiltrated his wife. They were looking at him as a ọmọ Ikere, ọmọ tó yẹ pé àwa la discover, ọmọ awala, and they were trying to involve him in other things that he said, no, I'm not going to maintain my sanity if you put me here. Let me do music, and when my time is up, let me go. Then why are they harassing him?
Anako Agbayi, so young, tí rí wèrè ni. Ìṣọ́ máa ń bá wèrè sọ̀rọ̀, ṣé wọ́n ló máa explain nǹkan tó ń right and wrong fún wèrè? Ṣó lè respect nǹkan tó right and wrong fún wèrè? Gbogbo yín ti tó ń bá wọn múlì. Ìwọ nǹkan lè ẹ̀kọ́ dáná sùn, gbogbo yín ti run down. Ẹ ti fi wèrè jẹ́ role model. Ṣé ẹ̀dẹ̀ lè wo tán? Fíìmù tẹ dálẹ̀ yìí ń já movie ni. Ẹ lè wo tán. Àtọ́lórí burúkú kan tó sọ pé Naira, you no go last like this. Last, wàá ti kú.
Why are they looking at him as an underdog? Why are they beating him everywhere? Then, how did they arrange for him to be eliminated? These are the issues.
Wọ́n ló bá Táyé jẹ́ ló tún bá Kẹ́hìndé jẹ́. Ó dẹ̀ tún jókòó pẹ̀lú Kẹ́hìndé, ó sọ̀rọ̀ Táyé fún Kẹ́hìndé, ó sọ̀rọ̀ Kẹ́hìndé fún Táyé. Ọlọ́run máa làákà ẹ̀, Ọlọ́run máa dájú ẹ̀ o. Inú náà nìyá ẹ̀ ń lọ, wọ́n á máa bàyàn jẹ́ o. Ó lè bàyàn jẹ́ kó fi gbá yìí o. Ó máa tẹ́bọ̀ ni o, wọ́n á máa bàyàn jẹ́. Ṣùgbọ́n ìwọ mú bá ìwọ gangan, ìwọ tó ń wò mí gangan. Tó bá ń bẹ online lórí social media, tó bá lọ́ọ́ reply ẹ̀rọ ẹ̀ fún frame ni o. Má reply ẹ̀, tó bá reply ẹ̀ bíi pé ọ̀gán ló ti gọ́ bọ̀dẹ̀. Tó bá bí ìyá ẹ̀ rí, tó bá mọ̀ pé orúkọ ìyá ẹ̀ níyà ẹ̀ ń jẹ́ níjọ́ tó bí ìyá ẹ̀, kó wá dúró síwájú ẹ̀ pé Mr. Alágbájá ọmọ Lágbájá ìwọ mò ń bá wí kí ló fẹ́ ṣe. Wà á dẹ̀ ṣe kí ni ó mọ̀, on God no cap. Ó ṣàmọ̀ pé inú fíìmù lòkú máa ti yọjú séèyàn. Real life. Ó ṣáà ti mọ̀. Ẹja àwọn agbádùn lọ. But má reply ẹ̀ tó bá tú ẹ lórí social media. Tó bá lọ reply ẹ̀ fún fíìmù ni. Má reply ẹ̀. Tó bá ti bire, kó kọ̀ dárúkọ ẹ pé ìwọ ọmọ Lágbájá ìwọ mò ń bá wí o. Kó wá dúró síwájú ẹ pé ìwọ mò ń bá wí o. Nà ó ṣàmọ̀. Ọmọ kan tó máa ń ṣe fún wọn náà. Ẹ̀yin òkú lọ́wọ́ tó bá ń jẹ sàárà. Wà á dẹ̀ ṣe kí ni ó mọ̀, on God no cap. Ó ṣàmọ̀ pé inú fíìmù lòkú máa ti yọjú séèyàn. Real life. Ó ṣáà ti mọ̀. Ẹja àwọn agbádùn lọ. But má reply ẹ̀ tó bá tú ẹ lórí social media.
Then look at it. I even watched a video where Mobad's father was talking to Naira Marley. You can imagine that insult.
Àgbẹ̀gbẹ̀ mi ò tún wá mọ kankan pé bí wọ́n ń perform ó tún gbàgbé lyrics, wọ́n ń gbàgbé phone password. From my account details there. Ó wà lórí títì. Ó wà lórí phone. Gbà tí ò mọ password yẹn, Come out to I'm on block on my wife. About the phone again. So I'm going back to my logistics. Don't start telling
that insidious manner, horrible, terrible, worrisome insult. I mean, you are talking to the father of your artist and you are on the bed and the man stood in front of you, Okawo saying, ṣé mani mo ní owó mo ní ọlá mo fẹ́ bá àgbàlagbà sọ̀rọ̀ àgbàlagbà yẹn wá dúró èmi wá jókòó mo wá ń sọ̀rọ̀. Then if you look at that video you see that there is another guy standing at the back of Mobad's father hooded with a black cloth. That means it's a gangster empire. Mobad's father, as a good father, would have done everything possible to get his son, to extricate his son from that system.
The reflection of what I'm seeing since yesterday was now changing my thinking now. When I see the conversation, the statement between him and his wife, because he should know he will let me. The day that even with Naira an issue, I can defend it that my son was properly okay then. Because that very day, I entered his house, prayed for him, and he said that he wants to reach somewhere. That's all what I know about. So on his way called me, one of his friends just came in and reported that somebody is beating my voice over there. Before I reached there, everything was closed. And he gave me the evidence that he was beaten up in the Marlian's house. And people are saying he's drunk, and he says, don't you normally do this? Which is capital no. The only thing I can just tell them that if it is their own their own child, how are they going to feel? Because it's a terrible thing to me.
For clarity's sake, we want you to shed light on some of these burning questions. How would you describe the death of your son since the news broke out?
I said it before that he is my friend, my second. So I don't know the way I can describe it anymore. It's my helper, is the light of my family.
Do you have possible reasons for his death? Because there are a lot of speculations out there. We want you to shed light on it.
The only revelation that I had on that very day, a day to detect. I said it last time that we were discussing that on my dream I saw someone in the front of mine and hold a gun. But on that dream I was saying that I've dodged the bullet, but that person hold it just in front of if somebody at the back of this chair and somebody in the front hold gun. So if I now dodge at the back, so there's no evidence that that person cannot kill. So that very Tuesday I decided to stay at home.
Nígbà tó lọ bá ọ̀gá ọmọ ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ nílé tó sọ̀rọ̀ ibẹ̀ tó yẹ bàbá orí àwọn náà ló fẹ́ da orí ẹ̀ rú o àwọn náà lọ tún allege ṣe rí i pé àwọn èèyàn burúkú làwọn èèyàn yìí àwọn ló fún ní nǹkan tí wọ́n sọ pé orí ẹ̀ yẹn kò stable mọ́ ìgbà tẹ wá lé dànù tó wá lọ pẹ̀lú ìbínú ẹ wá ń sọ ìròyìn you started spreading false allegations that he's not doing well, that his brain is gone. What if the grace of God didn't manifest in his life to the extent that he granted those interviews to reveal what was happening? Then when people call, then you tell them, don't take him. Don't go, he's mad, he's running mad, he's having mental challenge. What kind of nonsense is that? Then you are not telling his father, ó tẹ̀ máa ń gbàgbé password ẹ̀ náà, ó ló ń gbàgbé account number ẹ̀. Báwo ló ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní gbàgbé? Ìgbà tó dé ọ̀dọ̀ ẹ̀ kò kí ń gbàgbé nǹkan kan náà. Ó ṣiṣẹ́ pàṣípò ìgbà tó wà lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀ ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní gbàgbé nǹkan. And I look at Naira Marley, I feel like giving him, I feel like punching his mouth. You don't talk to an elderly person like that. You don't feel too big as if ìwọ ló láyé. Ó láyé now. Bàbá ẹni tó fi wọ́n fi ọmọ wọ́n fi destiny sọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀ ó fẹ́ sọ ọ́ dèèyàn. Now recently we are hearing from ID Kabasa. May God bless ID Kabasa. telling us that even the vehicles they bought for Zino Liski, another artist, the houses they bought for that one were bought in the name of the label. What kind of cruelty is this? What kind of wickedness is this? Ọlọ́run mama jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ wa kó pàdé alọ́ni lọ́wọ́ gbàkẹ́. Ọlọ́run ẹ̀ka àwọn ọmọ wa, kó há sọ wáyé. This thing also happened to Haralola too. I just remember now in our own day too with like a Patrobikana in those days. So today, if you look at our channel, you hear the interviews. Why is it that in this climb we try to hold people down? If God used you to hack an egg, why don't you let the egg become a hen? Why do you want to destroy the egg in the process of becoming a hen? If God gives you the opportunity to hack the egg, then let the egg grow to become a hen. I mean, it's unfortunate that this kind of thing is happening in this kind of time. I'm sure where Naira Marley is and the one that call himself Samilari or something like that, you look at that one, all the videos, see him doing all sorts of things, talking like a tout, threatening. And you imagine a country that has intellectuals. How did we get to this level? A country that has people that think, a country that has a General Obasanjo, a country that has a Pastor Bakari, a country that has a Bishop Mike Okonko, a country that has a lot of great people, that have a Chimamanda Adichie, a country that has a Chris Moghalu, a country that has a Peter Obi, a country that has a Kojo Williams, a country that has what's the name of that great ambassador, Emeka Nyaoku, a country that has a cream of intellectuals. How did we find ourselves here in the forefront of this emotional garbage, whereby some people who are suspected to be drug addicts are now controlling a sensitive part of the economy, whereby you are hearing stories about cartels and all that, who flaunt their affinity with people in political authority, they flaunt their affinity with people in traditional institutions, they flaunt their affinity with people in the top echelons of power. And how did we even allow those kind of people to get to that echelon of power? A country that's supposed to be the best in the Sahel of Africa, a country that's supposed to be the best in the world, and they are hearing about all this solid. So the Mobad situation is bringing out a whole lot of things. Mobad, even in his lyrics, you hear a lot of things. From his lyrics, you can see the pain. Nínú orin tó kọ, ẹ rí gbogbo nǹkan tó sọ, ẹ rí gbogbo nǹkan tó ń wí, ẹ mọ̀ yìí pé ó ń rí àdójúkọ ńlá wà nínú ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀. Ẹ rí i pé nǹkan tó ń ṣe ó lápọn, pé nǹkan tó ń ṣe kò kéré. Then you look at a lot of videos, you look at some videos and you're like, what kind of character is this? Bragging everywhere.
Anako wa gba yìí, so yan tí rí wèrè ni. Ìṣọ́ máa ń bá wèrè sọ̀rọ̀, ṣé wọ́n ló máa explain nǹkan tó ń right and wrong fún wèrè? Ṣó lè respect nǹkan tó right and wrong fún wèrè? Gbogbo yín ti tó ń bá wọn mú lì. Ìwọ nǹkan lè ẹ̀kọ́ dáná sùn, gbogbo yín ti run down, ẹ ti fi wèrè jẹ́ role model. So ẹ̀dẹ̀ lè wo tán, fíìmù tẹ dálẹ̀ yìí ń já movie ni, ẹ̀ lè wo tán. Àtọ́lórí burúkú tó sọ pé Naira you no go last like this. Last, wàá ti kú.
Wàá dẹ̀ ṣe kí ni ó mọ̀, on God no cap. Ó ṣàmọ̀ pé inú fíìmù lòkú máa ti yọjú séyàn. Real life ṣáà ti mọ̀ ẹja máa gbádùn lọ but máa reply tó bá tú ẹ lórí social media.
Like, people need to start appreciating the effort I put into not being a serial killer. Like,
ọkàn yóò ní balẹ̀ màá gbẹ̀mí yín gbóná ọkàn ya yóò ní balẹ̀ ẹlẹ́ni gbọ́ èmi náà ní gbà ọmọ gini yàbí ẹ má wọrí màá gbẹ̀mí ya yín gbóná ẹ má jẹ bẹ́ẹ̀dì lọ́ndẹ̀ yín lọ́wọ́ ẹ má wọrí.
You look at Naira Marley, you look at what they are doing, you look at the way they are living their life. I mean, is it a good thing for young people to copy? I mean, is it a good thing for young people to copy? You know? Can you say young people can copy this and you are proud of it and you say, oh, it's okay? You know? You look at a lot of things and you are wondering that how did we find ourselves here? How did we become a laughing stock? You look at Mobad. Okay, look at Mobad's music. Look at Mobad's presentation. You see that most of his music are highly philosophical. His musics are narrative about life, about challenges, about incidents of life, about incidents of parenthood, about incidents of growing up in a very clustered society, about ambition, about aspiration. But you look at Naira Marley's song, it's critically about junkies, about sex, about mess up, about gangsterism. Okay, we are not even saying don't sing those songs, but don't live that life. Why should you live that life? On my fuck it up. On my fuck it up. On my fuck it up. Then you are living that life of fuck it up. Then a lot of people are feeling that, oh, you should not talk about it. Feel it. And you are living that life. You fucked up a life now by harassment, by intimidation, by trying to gag his glory, trying to gag his destiny. I have always warned people that if you're a successful person, that there's limitation to association. There are people you don't allow around you. There are people you must cut them off. The first day you see them, you look at their mannerism. Somebody that is talking loud. Don't console loud. Kò sí bóyá ilé handsome tó. Ẹni tó bá ti rí tó ń gbé chain, tó ń wọ chain. That's a sign of vain glory. Tó ń wọ chain, ló ń tàn gbàràgbàrà. Ó kó chain sọ́wọ́. It's a loud. Tí mo wí pé is a fake person. Àwọn tó ń jiná, àwọn tó ń gbóná, àwọn tó ń wọ́n kì í wọṣọ tó wọ́n ń ṣe làwùlàwù. Àwọn tó yẹ pé wọ́n ní nǹkan tó fẹ́ offer psychologically. If you look at Peter Obi now, Peter Obi does not. He goes gently. He goes easily. He has no. You can't see gold, jewelries. You can't see what they call it. You can't see vestige of obnoxious mannerism and all that. So you look at those kind of people, you look at him, you look at his charisma, you look at the way he talks, you now look at a Mobad who grew from a neighborhood of quietness, grew from a parent that are humble in nature, humble in disposition. And then you now ask yourself, how did they came together? Àwọn èèyàn tí yẹ pé wọ́n fẹ́ infiltrate, wọ́n fẹ́ introduce sí a lot of terrible things of life, wọ́n fẹ́ bà sanity ẹ̀ jẹ́, wọ́n dẹ̀ ní àlìbá jẹ́. Only God Almighty that helped the guy to be able to drop hints about the threat, about the intention to terminate him.
Emo, Zino, gbogbo àwọn Marlian music pátá. Michael Singer àtìyàwó ẹ̀. Túndé, Malé Junior, gbogbo wọn pátá, Idris, gbogbo wọn pẹ̀lú everybody wọn Marlian music níbi ìrántí gbogbo ìyàwó wọn. Everybody wọ́n ti kí mi kí ni mo ṣe. Torí pé wọ́n wá fi ọkàn mi fún yín.
God just helped the guy because kí ló fà á? àwọn ibi tó yẹ kí ìyá àti bàbá kan ti ṣiṣẹ́ wọn Ọlọ́run dáríjì mi ṣe ló dà pé wọn ò ṣiṣẹ́ wọn nígbà tó wà ní kékeré àwọn nǹkan tó ti gbọ́ tó yẹ kán ṣe tẹ́ bá ṣe àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí then àwọn nǹkan tó dá ṣẹlẹ̀ sáyé ọmọ kò ní fẹ́yàwó burúkú kò ní ọ̀rẹ́ burúkú kò ní ṣe iṣẹ́ burúkú kò ní kó sọ wa lọ́ni lọ́wọ́ gbà gbogbo nǹkan á jẹ́ létò tó bá tẹ̀ máa kó sọ wa lọ́ni lọ́wọ́ gbà kò ní la ẹ̀mí lọ bó ṣe la ẹ̀mí lọ yìí á fi ṣe àríkọ́gbọ́n. If the parents have been able to do what they needed to do when he was a young guy, or the spiritual messages or the spiritual information they had about him, if they have followed it up, maybe it will not end this way. It will not be traumatic. Yes, he could have run into one or two situations of life that will teach him a good lesson for him to be able to live his life, but it will not be tragic. This is too tragic. Somebody arranged him to go for a show. Somebody arranged him, and at that show, he was hit, he was beaten, he was rough-handled. Some people used something on him. Then you now took him to hospital to come and take injection. It will not work. Ẹni tó bá gba injection sí ọ̀fà ikú ni. There's a lot of experience. There's a lot of experience. There's a lot of experience. If the another time is presented, he say, we will tell you more what we've seen about all these things. How do you allow a glorious child to die? I have spoken about it. Even if you look at King Sunny Ade till today, there's a reflection. That reflection is on him. The way he lives his life, the way he moves, the way he associates, the way he relates with people. And when he really ó King Sunny Ade. Then for a long time, the mama who worked so hard to raise a star, mama was the one living with King Sunny Ade, catering for his immediate needs, taking care of him through life, guiding him until she passed away some years ago. And today, Sunny Ade ti dàràbà, ó ní àwa ti dàràbà, tápá ò lè ká. Àwa ti dàràbà, tápá ò lè ká. Ògo Ọlọ́run tàn lórí mi, mo dúpẹ́, mo yọ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀, mo yìn bàbá. Ìmọ́lẹ̀ Ọlọ́run tó tàn panápaná kan ò lè pa. Ẹ yé jealousy, ẹ yé ṣàkárà, ẹ yé jealousy, ẹ yé poke nose. You know, that is it. So there are a lot in this book. You know, this is the crisis. We are going to get it in Sunny Ade in London. You know, African Song Limited and TYC Record. Take your choice record. If you read this story, TYC Record is as good as. It's not as worse as Marlian Record, but it was pure cheating. Even Sunny Ade in London, it was crisis. Those are the crisis-laden years between King Sunny Ade and Chief Abioro. And what again? Before the crisis, we don't have enough time today. We are going to create another time to come and talk. Maybe we'll do a part 2. Sunny Ade in America. You know, these were the benefits of having a record label, but okay, the Island Record connection, that was in London, in America. But, you know, if you look at it, if you look at the crisis, if you read the story of how things went wrong, you will be shocked. Sunny Ade also had his own fair share of his Mobad situation, and he had many fair share. The only guy that was lucky in his time was Chief Commander Obi, who was signed onto Decca Record because white men were in charge. From day one till today, as I'm talking to you now, Chief Commander Obi is 81 years old. He cannot drive. He can't drive a car. You know why? From day one at Decca Record, they gave him a car. They gave him a driver. Among all the musicians in Nigeria, I must say, with total honor, that Chief Commander, Professor Evangelist Ebenezer Obi-Fabi MFR, was one of those who are very lucky, who got a good musical deal. He was with Decca for over 4 decades, and eventually he bought the company. When the white men were going, they sold the company to him. So what kind of a grace? But Sunny Ade had a very terrible experience. at Take Your Choice Record, Abioro, is something that is in this book. If you know the kind of spiritual thing that went on in his life, that aspect of his mom, we have not said enough. We only said just 30%. But why am I saying all this? I'm saying it to tell parents that you must learn from Mobad's situation. A lot of things is happening. The investigation is still going on. I only came out to give this broadcast because I want to take it from the Sunny Ade perspective. Sunny Ade is a great star. He's an illustrious son of Africa. He's an illustrious musician of the world. And today is his 77th birthday. He has seen it all. He came to the world at the right time, and his parents hacking on to all the spiritual information, all the spiritual warnings. They are not like the parents of today who just become like a Jessica. They carry their child from one place to the other. Mothers of those days, they listen. They do everything back to back. You can imagine somebody living a comfort in Ondo to Osogbo to start a new life. The next time we're going to come back, I will tell you how Sunny Ade escaped from Osogbo to Abeokuta. Then he found himself in Lagos with Baba Salah before he became a band leader at age 21. And a few years later, he ran, just 2-3 years, he ran into Abioro, and how that situation changed a whole lot of things, so that you understand where Mobad is coming from and you understand the Mobad situation. And from time to time, we also share our own Mobad situation with you, because so that there's no how, even if there's riches staring at you, you ask yourself, what is Mobad gain with Marlian Record? What is Zenoliski's gain with Marlian Record? Most of the stars, most of the people that were engaged with this character, they are sharing all sort of solid testimony online. And when we started making noise, Wednesday, September 13th, people say, oh no, I don't know how we have gotten to this debased level in this country, whereby to say the truth has become a problem. They don't want you to say it. They want to pad it. They want to slide it. Some people left my Facebook. They just blocked themselves because they felt that I'm too strict on some issues, on some people. They feel that they feel now, what is the implication on education? What is the implication of generational change? What is the implication on children, young children in school? What is jello? So that means that the new order is to jagba anyhow. So on Mobad, I want to pray that God is going to give the parent the fortitude to bear the loss.
Oh, Naira jáde jọ, ó fọmọ mi ṣẹrú ni títí. Ṣùgbọ́n mi wọ́n jáde nígbà tí ọmọ mi wà lọ́dọ̀ Naira, ó fún mi ní owó kankan o.
God is going to give the family the fortitude to bear the loss. God is going to give all his fans around the world the fortitude to bear the loss. But most importantly, we pray and we earnestly seek that justice must be done to all the characters involved and their accomplices, their affiliates, and every other person. Justice must be given in plain terms so that we can build a society. We cannot build society around drug addicts, around drug personified people, drug personified politicians. We cannot build a society around dodgy characters. The implication is too massive. The implication is bad. It's not good for our children. You will not like to wake up one morning and you hear that somebody stole your child certificate and claim that it is only $1. Your child that has done enough, you have spent so much money on him or her in lessons, in schools, everything. You've done almost everything, and you know that this child is brilliant. You know that your child has capacity to take first in school, and they told you that the child took 38, and $1, they took your child's certificate for this $1 because the parent is rich. You won't like it. We should go back, search ourselves. Let's look at the Mobad revelation. One day to be a big story, somebody can write about it. But let's learn the lesson. First from the spiritual aspect, secondly from the social aspect, thirdly from the professional aspect, and from the government aspect. You look at all the people that wounded Mobad to depression. You look at them. These are people that are having pictures with governors, with presidents, with kings. And you ask yourself, how did we find ourselves here? And right now, the people are now saying, we don't know them, we don't know them. Then you see see them going around doing as if kilo shele, you know, your sort of horrible impunity. I call it horrible impunity. And by the grace of God, if only God is the most powerful, if only God is the most awesome, if only God is the creator of heaven and earth, we shall have victory over all these inanities. We shall have victory over everything that is negative in our country. We will have the right people in posts of leadership. They will have the right moral ethics that will guide everybody to goodness and to greatness. Yes. Happy birthday to King Sunny Fashola and Tony Adegeye, King Sunny Ade. I wish you a brilliant, a wonderful birthday, sir. And I pray that God is going to give you more good life to live, in good health, in sound of mind, and a prosperous creativity. To the family of Mobad, I will assure you by God's grace, justice will be served, if not by man, but by God. Thank you. God bless you. For the next broadcast. Goodbye.